Lyslot is getting ready when Kurt's blade catches her eye, reminding her what he had told her earlier. Apparently, if she raises the blade above her head, a spell will be activated. She wonders what kind of spell such a tiny blade could cast, and decides to find out for herself. Curious, she draws the sword and lifts it, but to her surprise, nothing happens. At that moment, Kurt, speaking from another room, says they need to leave now. When she turns around, she's shocked to see that someone has snuck up behind her. On the other side, the battle against the undead is spiraling out of control. Desperate, Ulysses asks Raid if they're close to the ruins, and he assures her that if they keep pushing to the undead, they'll reach their destination soon. Ulysses is already exhausted. The fight is draining too much of her energy, and she can barely stay on her feet. Still, she feels lucky and grateful to Generic, as a distraction force lured a large number of undead away from them. Without Generic, Ulysses and O'Raid would have been overwhelmed by the sheer number of enemies. However, Generic's army won't hold out much longer, and Ulysses knows that as well. She realizes that Generic's team is about to run out of the magic crystals they've been using to hold back the undead. Ulysses herself only has a few crystals left in her inventory, and the only way to win now is to quickly locate the source of the undead. Out of nowhere, O'Raid is struck in the stomach, but Ulysses can't help him because dozens of undead bats are surrounding her. Danzo and Cena arrive to rescue them, introducing themselves to O'Raid as adventurers currently working for the Atelier. While Cans and Danzo support Ulysses and O'Raid with their combat skills, Cena uses her navigation ability to pinpoint the origin point of the enemies, reporting that the undead are coming from the ruins just ahead. With this sudden spark of hope, Ulysses uses her last magic crystals to eliminate the remaining undead in the area, and then heads toward the ruins with the group. She hands Aura a bottle of soup made by Kurt, and upon drinking it, Aura's wounds heal instantly. Perhaps they shouldn't have wasted such a powerful item so soon, because seconds later another wave of undead bursts through the gates of the ruins. This time, Cans and Danzo bravely face the goblins, and the others follow their lead, marching into battle once again. After dealing with the undead, they quickly enter the ruins, cutting down any monster that crosses their path. Meanwhile, Morley has lost all hope of surviving. She knows that if the demon lord continues to drain her life force like this, she will never see the light of day again. But what can she do? She's so powerless, she can't even speak for herself in front of this terrifying entity. The demon lord laughs, entertained by her suffering. However, his smile fades when he discovers, through his surveillance magic, that the humans are using a special kind of magic crystal that annihilates all undead within its radius. He also sees Ulysses' group approaching, and is impressed by the strength the humans have shown. He remarks how bored he was, just waiting there for hours. Then he decides to confront Ulysses' group personally, hoping to find some entertainment in the situation. Ulysses' group enters a corridor where skeletons begin emerging from the ground. Suspecting that this might be the source of the undead, they immediately use a magic crystal, subduing the skeletons. But the real battle is only just beginning, as the demon lord appears before them at that very moment, smiling menacingly. With a single glance, Ulysses recognizes the creature as a demon lord and hides her fear behind a confident smile. She tells O'Raid that all they need to do is defeat this enemy to put an end to the undead once and for all. Wasting no time, Ulysses charges forward and strikes the demon lord in the face using Kurt's magic stone. But he emerges completely unharmed, calmly stating that the reason he took no damage is because he possesses infinite lives. Ulysses thinks he's bluffing, and so does Aura, who quickly tries to prove otherwise with a sword strike. The demon lord doesn't even attempt to dodge and is stabbed clean through the abdomen, but the wound regenerates instantly, making them both realize that he truly is invincible. What's actually happening is that the demon is secretly draining Marla's life force to restore his energy. He then shows Ulysses and O'Raid that their companions are outside and declares that all their efforts are meaningless, since he can keep spawning undead endlessly. Pushing things even further, he summons two colossal undead giants, claiming they're strong enough to destroy the city gates, and arrogantly predicts that the giants will soon trample the adventurer team stationed at the entrance. His taunts push Ulysses and O'Raid to their breaking point. Without hesitation, they launch a full assault. Ulysses pierces his heart, and O'Raid decapitates him with a perfectly coordinated strike. But it's all in vain. The demon lord simply picks up his severed head and places it back on his shoulders. With a twisted grin, he declares that he will soon drag Lyslot out of the city and tear her to pieces right in front of them, just to watch despair flood their faces. Marlice knows the only way to survive is to destroy the magic circle she's trapped in, but she no longer has the strength to do anything. Weak and powerless, she mutters how hungry she is and prays to the gods for just one last taste of Kurt's homemade food before her soul is taken away. At that moment, She hears Kurt's voice and assumes it a hallucination in her final moments. But when she lifts her gaze, she sees the ground cracking open. To her disbelief, Kurt and Lyslot appear, revealing that they had dug a tunnel underground to avoid the undead and reach her. Kurt is surprised to see Marlice, but she says nothing. Upon seeing Princess Lyslot beside him, Marlice assumes Kurt has already discovered her involvement in the assassination attempt against Lyslot and believes he came to convince her not to follow that dark path. Lyslot asks Kurt if he knows Marlice, and Kurt explains that they used to be part of the same adventuring party, introducing her as the church sister. Marlice immediately corrects him, saying she was excommunicated and is no longer a sister. Kurt, finally using a bit of logic, realizes that Marlice might be after Lyslot's life, but quickly loses track of the situation, naively concluding that she's just trying to hurt Lyslot out of frustration from being kicked out of church. He couldn't be more wrong, and Marlice doesn't even bother to explain her real circumstances. Lyslot, on the other hand, quickly puts the pieces together and realizes the true mastermind behind everything is Bishop Tristan. Kurt still acts like it's nothing serious, scolding Marlice like an older brother without a trace of anger, merely telling her she shouldn't have tried to harm Lyslot. Regardless, he asks where Ulyssia is, confused that she hasn't shown up yet, since he assumed she would have arrived before him. Marlice says Ulyssia is upstairs, conveniently leaving out the fact that she's currently fighting a demon lord. Lyslot offers to go after Ulyssia herself, asking Kurt to undo the magic circle, assuring him she'll be fine, and showing off the powerful and somewhat suspicious blade he made for her. Marlice remains silent, internally wondering how stupid Kurt must be to let Lyslot go alone to the floor where the demon lord is waiting. Meanwhile, Kurt pulls out a bucket and a mop from somewhere and starts literally cleaning the magic circle as if he were scrubbing the floor of a tavern, leaving Marlice completely stunned. As he casually wipes away the spells, it seems the demon lord also notices his magic weakening. When Ulyssia tries to attack again, the demon lord immediately dodges, something he hadn't done before. He realizes the magical flow is fading, and that if he's not careful, he could die. He wonders what happened, and whether the spell has truly been undone, unaware that our clueless protagonist is already in the thick of it. The demon lord now understands he can't afford to play around anymore, and must stop them from using the magic crystal. Before Ulyssia and O'Raid can launch another attack, Lyslot appears before him. That means only one thing. His mission is complete. The sole reason for his attack on the city was to kill the princess, and if she came to him willingly, there's no need to drag things out. He strikes immediately and she falls. Ulyssia's world collapses. She stands in shock, unable to believe that the young girl under her protection is dead. To everyone's surprise, butterflies gather around Lyslot's body, and she reappears behind the demon lord. She laughs at him, revealing that what he killed was only an illusion. The magic Kurt placed in the sword was an illusion spell, perfectly replicating the person's appearance and even body temperature. The demon lord is stunned. He never would have imagined something like that. He strikes again, but butterflies land on the fall's body, and Lyslot reappears once more, this time beside the magic crystal that must be destroyed. She shatters it with her sword. The demon lord vanishes, and since the one who cast the spell is gone, all the monsters disappear as well. The creatures in the city evaporate, and everyone celebrates. Marlice realizes the demons are gone, and is shocked that the group actually managed to defeat the demon lord. Ulyssia takes a few moments to snap back to reality, utterly shaken. She runs to Lyslot, asking why she left the hiding place. Lyslot admits she was wrong and apologizes. Everyone was fighting and suffering because of her, so she couldn't just stand by and do nothing. Ulyssia begs her to stop apologizing. It was Lyslot who saved the city, and they're the ones who should be thanking her. Aura drops to his knees in gratitude. Lyslot promises to reward everyone who did their best to protect her, but Aura refuses any gifts. When she insists, he asks for alcohol for his team, a true drunkard. Meanwhile, Marlice feels a sharp pain in her stomach. She realizes the curse placed on her hasn't disappeared, even though the spell was undone. She believes she's going to die, and even thinks she deserves it. Kurt shows up with food for her. Marlice assumes she'll vomit if she eats, but she doesn't want to miss the chance to savor one last meal made by Kurt. She accepts. What she doesn't know is that Kurt isn't the clueless little boy everyone underestimated in the group. In truth, they had no idea he was the one who had protected the whole team during their journey. She eats the meal, and suddenly, the poison in her stomach dissolves. She starts to tear up. She realizes that every time they were injured in battle, their bodies healed first. What they thought was pure luck was actually Kurt taking care of them, because his power wasn't in fighting battles. They had believed he was weak. Now she sees that she made a mistake, a costly one. She apologizes to Kurt with tears in her eyes, but the fool thinks she's saying sorry for putting beetles in Lisa's room. Lisa and Ulysses arrive with 2 guards. The guards came to arrest Marley, and Kurt yells that she should be released. Not that he really cares. He believes that anyone who makes a mistake should be punished. So when Marlefis wonders if he's actually pleading for her freedom, he replies no, and says he'll just run her food in prison instead. He walks over to Lisa to make sure she's okay. She reassures him that she's fine, and Ulysses smiles to herself. She can hardly believe those 2 kids are the same ones who saved her life that day. She concludes they are indeed a great master of the Atelier and a great princess. She walks up to them and asks them to return to the Atelier. They hold hands together, and he can't help but think how lucky he is. They laugh, asking if he's happy to be holding hands with 2 beautiful girls. But that's not what truly makes him happy. He's happy because, for the first time in his life, he has friends who care about him. He has a place to call home, and he no longer feels useless. That was something he had wished for his entire life, and now it's finally coming true. He looks at his atelier and realizes that, for the first time, he is truly happy. He prepares meals for the knights to celebrate that night. However, as they eat, no one seems excited. Everyone eats in silence. He assumes they're quiet because the food isn't good and that they're disappointed in him. You know, Kurt, whenever he's sad, it's written all over his face. Al notices that expression and approaches him. He reveals that everyone is eating silently because they're enjoying the food so much. That comment makes Kurt incredibly happy. Lisa shows up to introduce Aura to him as the knight of the city. He tells Aura how much he's enjoying the city and how well Raid has been leading. Raid praises Kurt's food, saying that ever since he ate it, his wounds have been healing. Instead of accepting the compliment, Kurt replies that it's just a common effect of eating a good meal. Common? That's certainly not common for everyone else there, but we can conclude that what's ordinary for Kurt is actually extraordinary for others. As they talk, fireworks light up the sky. Kurt had prepared them as a celebration for that great night, and everyone is happy watching. As their evening ends in joy, Tristan meets with Margaret again. What they're plotting remains unknown, but one thing is certain. With Kurt as the master of the Atelier, they'll end up regretting it.